Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Wednesday, September 10th, day 65. 18 days left to go in Big Brother 27, and it is Waffle Wednesday. The voting, let's get through that real quick. Right now, if Keanu's still on the block, he's going to go tomorrow. If it is between Will and Ashley, as a speaker right now, Will probably would be the one to get voted out, because that's who Lauren would rather not get voted out, and Keanu wants to make sure that Lauren doesn't get her way. It's not quite as cut and dry as that, but point is, that's where things stand. I can't delve into all the ins and outs right now. It's just a lot, and I want to talk about last night's show more than I want to talk about the current house goings on, because house goings on right now are very quiet, calm, collected, slow. We'll know better tomorrow what's going on. So let's talk about last night's show in the limited time that I have this morning. Last night's show, it was all about post Mickey's eviction and Rachel getting evicted. The show ended with her walking out the backyard. That's where we're going to get to while I talk. First of all, know that it was recorded from all night Thursday night. Remember, the show airs from 8 to 9. Eastern time. So it gets over at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So from 6 p.m. Eastern time till about 4 or 5 in the morning is when Rachel actually walked out. So even though it doesn't seem like it, it was a, there was not quite 12 hours there, maybe 10, 9, 10 hours that Rachel was still in the house after Mickey left. So there was time to do some diary rooms, a few. Obviously, as we watched it, some of the diary rooms were recorded after Rachel had walked out and knew that she was off the show. So you could see it, you could hear it in her voice, and you could see it in her expression. She was trying to hold it together, and she was doing a fairly good job. But of course, knowing that she was already out of the house, you could hear when she recorded those. You could hear it in her voice and everything. So, show comes. We see Mickey leave. We see the fall, a little bit of the fallout from that. But then right away they find out that they're going to the backyard, the White Locust, not Lotus, I'll probably say Lotus at some point, but the White Locust Resort. And I did not know, and maybe I missed it, I think I may have seen Shuffleboard mentioned, but there was the way Ava was established as the first one to go in the competition was they did a shuffleboard or a bar drink sliding competition where they were sliding in mugs of beer. It wasn't mugs of beer, but just think of it that way. They were sliding these things to the end of a table. There was 3 tables, and they had to get into a zone before they could go to the next table. So the first person to get all 3 done and hit a timer won it, and Ava was the quickest, and Ava ended up being the quickest to get that done, and that is why she was granted immunity. I think she was granted immunity for the week, and she got to pick the first person to start off this safety chain thing, right? Which was the hamster wheel, which was used in reindeer games. It was not quite the same maze, because I did go look. The maze in reindeer games was a snowflake theme. This one was just a maze. So Ava went through a whole big thing. They did show, this was one of the biggest contentions, was Ava complained that she didn't pick Rachel because of the way Rachel treated her, that Rachel had yanked her arm out of her socket. When they went back inside to talk about who Ava would pick first, Rachel did kind of drag Ava into the storage room to talk to her, trying to pull her away from everybody else, and everybody else followed. And, Rachel saying, you have to pick me, you have to pick me, you have to pick me. And whether it was the real reason or not, Ava used Rachel's arm pulling and touching of her as a reason to say, I'm not picking Rachel because you don't treat me like that. That's what her excuse was in the diary room. What she said later on, it was a bit, that gets into these little bit of the social management, right? Did Rachel kind of overstep the cross lines with Ava? Did she not understand Ava seemed to have these lines? Then the other question is, would it have mattered anyways? Would Ava have found any reason to not pick Rachel? And I kind of lean into that. Ava didn't want to pick Rachel. She would have found a reason not to pick Rachel. In this case, it was because Rachel grabbed her arm. Okay, so let's go with that understanding that she probably wasn't picking Rachel no matter what, but she found a reason not to. So Ava, in the end, picked Vincent because her argument that she gave in the diary room was that Vincent's kind of allied with everybody. So if anybody got mad at her and said, why didn't you pick me? Why did you pick Vincent? She'd say, because I thought Vincent was your ally, so I figured you'd be okay with that. Right? So that's the excuse, again, that Ava tried to go with at least in the diary room. Again, I'm looking at all of these as this is the explanation we're being given. It is not necessarily the truth, but it's what they said. So Ava picked Vincent. Vincent ended up going out there, and we did not see the times that they completed in. So Vincent had 6.5 minutes. The time was reduced by 1 minute for every person that went next. Vincent got his done in the time, whatever the time was. Maybe they'll show the times tomorrow or tonight on the show when they announce who once had a household, because they didn't announce that Lauren had a household. But Vincent went, then he came back in, and there was a huge big deal about who Vincent was picking between Morgan and Lauren. Surprise, surprise. Eventually, Vincent landing on Lauren with Lauren's promise that she would pick Morgan next. And so we saw Lauren go out. Lauren, again, completed it. She got it done in time. We do not know the time, but we know it was the fastest since we know she's had a household. And then she came back in. And once again, a big drama situation. Lauren wanted Morgan to pick Kelly as the next person, and Morgan ended up not committing to that or anything. Morgan's attitude was Vincent should have never picked Lauren. He should have stuck with his judges alliance, and that's why he should have picked her, and they would have taken care of all the judges. But again, remember, part of the rule of this thing was it was an elimination, and if you didn't complete the course in your allotted time, you were eliminated. Nobody else had to go once someone failed. So it was kind of one of those, you're weighing in what's going to be the shortest, the longest, the time that's going to eliminate someone. And people seem to feel, if it's to be believed, the way that Morgan talked after she completed it was, she said, it's easy, you can get it done. She picked Rachel and told Rachel you should have enough time. Rachel had 3.5 minutes. So it was, yes, Rachel had 3.5 minutes. Rachel did not get it done in time. Rachel, I don't think if she'd been given 10 minutes would have been able to get it done. And that's not a slam on Rachel. It just seemed pretty apparent that Rachel could not visualize how this maze worked, how spinning the drum related to the direction the ball was going and how it would drop in. It just seemed to be a bit of a... Some people are better at spaces, at directions than others, and she didn't seem to be able to grasp that. And so she struggled. She really, it wasn't fun to watch. We saw almost the whole thing, and she never seemed to make any progress with the disc getting towards the center where the goal was. So yeah, so Rachel was eliminated. She was quite broken up. The retells say that she was actually fairly composed and was comforting the other house guests who were upset, telling them it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. She said some, she made her little iconic speeches or her memorable speeches about not, lightening up or not, you're not going to walk into the finals and yada yada, said the right things, and she left. So that was the end of the episode, except for the announcer said that Rachel will be live with Julie on Thursday. That, my friends, is production trying to do damage control. They are having Rachel back on the show as a way to keep her involved with the show. They know they screwed up, right? And so this is my opinion, although I'm 99.9% sure that if somebody else had been eliminated, they wouldn't have been back on Wednesday's or Thursday's show live with Julie. This is the way to keep Rachel involved in the show, because there are people that are very upset that they aren't going to see her anymore on their TVs. And so that happened. Yeah, so Rachel will be back on Thursday, and there'll be another eviction, it said. Some people seem to think there's going to be more than there's more twists coming. I mean, there may be something, but they may do a double on Thursday's show. They haven't told us that. So right now we're just assuming one person is going to go, most likely Keanu or Will. So that's what I know. That's my summary. The only other thing is there's discussion by folks that we think, and I'd have to go back and watch it because maybe Tyler did say social game is very important in his card reading, but the announcer said it for sure, or the mastermind did, but that could have been overdubbed much later when everyone was pushing so hard back saying that the social game was being taken away from this. It's all about competitions now, and that's didn't what Big Brother used to be a lot more about your social game versus being able to do comps. And they've made comps more important because it's easier to edit comps. So they've taken away the social aspect, which is a harder thing to do because you have to tell a story. So, anyways, it sounds like they may have. I think they may have gone and edited what the mastermind said to try to make it sound like, oh no, it's social, and it is too. By the way, there is a social aspect even in this game because you had to navigate getting picked. However, it was obvious Rachel was eliminated because she couldn't do the competition. She wouldn't have been able to do this, and should that have been the reason that she was eliminated, or should it have at least put her in a vote situation where then your social game applies and not just a straight up elimination? You can argue it all day, and there will be people that will argue it all day. If you aren't a Rachel fan, you're going to lean more towards no, it was okay, everybody could do it. And if you are a Rachel fan, you're going to argue the other way. You got to walk all those lines. That's what I got, folks. Happy Wednesday. Another show tonight, and they'll do the Lauren getting head of household, Lauren's nominations, the BB comics, but they have 90 minutes to do it all tonight. So we'll talk to you probably tomorrow. I don't think we'll talk again later today. Thank you for listening. Have a good Wednesday, and we will again talk to you on Thursday morning. Take care. Bye.